I've already spoken about the things that frustrate me about FIFA 17 career mode, so now I'm following that up with a list of 10 things that I'd like to see in FIFA 18 career mode. And yeah, that's Lionel Messi in an Oxford United kit. Probably not something that most people would look to make happen in FIFA career mode, but hey, a personal goal of mine for FIFA 18 will be to sign the Argentinian for Oxford United. A boy can dream. Anyway though, let's get into this list of 10 things that I want to see in FIFA 18 career mode. Online career modes. The career mode gameplay can get quite stale sometimes due to its rather repetitive nature, but how good would it be if EA could introduce some form of online career mode for FIFA 18? You could go up against your mates online, doing business with them and making cheeky bids for some of their up and coming talents, and it could also make the YouTube career mode community quite interesting as well, watching some of your favourite YouTubers go head to head in online action. Imagine how good it would be to witness an online career mode series featuring the likes of Channy, Ches, My Player Master B Ford Lancer, and Rich Leigh maybe? You know where I am lads if an online career mode does end up becoming a reality for FIFA 18. League and tournament expansion. The Chinese Super League is one league that many people would love to see added for FIFA 18. And with the arrival of new leagues in the game, it'd also be pretty awesome to see new tournaments added as well, such as the AFC Champions League or the CONCACAF Champions League for example. I've always thought that it could be quite fun to manage an MLS side in the game, but without any continental football, I've never bothered doing so, as playing the same teams over and over again every season would soon become incredibly tiresome. I'd love to see the Chinese Super League included in FIFA 18 career mode, and I'd also massively appreciate the inclusion of more continental tournaments. Youth leagues. At the moment, the youth system in FIFA career mode is really quite basic. At the start of every month you get an update on how the youth players are all developing, and their overall stats and potential can alter, but there's no real way to track a young player's development in game unless you take a screenshot at the start of every month and track a player's progress this way. The addition of youth leagues in FIFA 18 career mode would be absolutely brilliant in my opinion, and would provide a much better way of tracking youth player progress in the game. Your youth team could go up against the youth teams of other sides in the same division, and the game could offer player stats like those provided for players in the first team, so that you could keep an eye on important stats such as how many goals everyone's scoring, what average ratings players are getting, and how many clean sheets different defenders and goalkeepers are maintaining. Keeping track of youth player progress in this manner would also come together rather nicely with the point I'm about to talk about next, and that is the removal of predefined player potential. At the moment, when a youth player comes through the system, the game initially offers you a rather vague estimation of how good this player can become in the future, and the more months they're in the academy for, the more precise this figure becomes, until ultimately, you know pretty much exactly how good this player will become in the future. Also, if you want to find out a real life player's potential, you head on over to sofifa.com where the latest database information is right there waiting for you. I'd like to see the player potential system in FIFA career mode completely reworked in such a way that better reflects how players truly develop in reality. In FIFA 15 for example, Harry Kane went from having 74 potential at the start of the game to 84 potential by the end of it, on the basis that he enjoyed an absolutely sensational season in reality. In FIFA 18 career mode, you should be able to take a relatively unknown player and turn them into a superstar by consistently performing well with them on the football field. There shouldn't be a static, predefined potential for that player. Other factors should come into play such as player performances and whether or not they suffer any major injuries or time on the sidelines throughout their development. You should have to nurture young talents to help them reach their full potential, not just leave them sitting there in the squad, knowing that regardless of what you do, their rating will continue to develop and they'll ultimately shine. There should certainly be some form of base stat for potential that offers a guideline as to how good that player may become in the future, but this should be a flexible figure that can alter as a result of in-game occurrences. As it stands, when you send a player out on loan or they transfer to another club, their potential can alter in the process, and this is something that I very much like and appreciate. A loan move can make or break a player in reality, and it can also impact upon their future in career mode as well. If you just leave a player in your squad though, their potential won't alter regardless of what you do, and this is what I want to see changed. Consistent good performances should be rewarded with an increase to that player's overall stats and potential, whilst poor performances and periods of stagnation should result in a player's progress being hampered. The ability for players to learn new positions. This is something that I've spoken about before in a video that I did with a bunch of other career mode YouTubers last year, and that is the ability for players to learn new positions within the game. EA updates the career mode database several times per week now, and players will have certain positions added and removed from their abilities throughout the year, but what I'd very much like to see in the game is the ability for players to learn new positions throughout the course of a career mode. You can train a player in different areas and make them more useful in different positions, but the game will never update a player's positioning to show where they're most useful. Gareth Bale is one such example of a player that could benefit from this new addition to the game. In the past, he has at times been listed as being able to play as a striker, but right now, the game only recognises him as a right winger. He also started out his career as a left back, and I have at times had some pretty solid success with Gareth Bale, once again having him operating as a fullback. You can of course play people anywhere, and it doesn't really massively matter whether or not a game suggests that you should be playing them there, but it'd certainly satisfy my OCD if players could learn new positions. It'd also be quite nice if when you moved a player into a different position on the pitch, their rating altered to show you how effective they are in that new position. Right now, players just have a rating set for how good they are in their primary position, and wherever you put them, they'll still show the same rating. Contract clauses. At the moment, contract negotiations are supremely simplistic, and I would love to see much more depth added to the game in this area. When you sell a player to another club, there should at least be the option to insert a buyback clause, or maybe even a sell-on clause as well. It's minor details like this that would really help make career mode more realistic, immersive, and just generally more enjoyable to play. Stadium expansion. For teams that don't have their official stadium in the game, I feel that stadium expansion should be an option, especially if you're managing a side in a Road to Glory style series. It's all very well playing in a tiny little stadium when you're battling it out in League 2, but once you've taken your team to the Champions League and you're challenging for the Premier League title every season, you don't really want to be doing so at Town Park or some other such small generic stadium that's featured in the game. As you get further into the game, there should be the option to expand upon the stadium that you already have, or upgrade to a larger generic stadium that's already featured in career mode. I'm not asking for the ability to set the price of hot dogs in the stadium or anything silly like that. It'd just be nice if the game would recognise your progress in career mode and update your stadium to better suit the prestige level that your team has managed to reach within the game. The ability to make changes in simulated matches. Simulated matches in FIFA career mode currently consist of setting your team, pressing sim match and hitting advance. Once you've done that, the players start warming up and the simulated match begins. There's no ability to provide any input whatsoever and it's all very limited. As it stands, I don't tend to simulate matches as the whole process is just a bit rubbish. If there was the ability to make tactical changes or substitutions during simulated matches though, then this I feel would provide a fantastic step forward for career mode. Player stats for other leagues. You can find out player stats for other teams in your own division and for all of the major tournaments taking place in that season, but you can't, for example, be managing a team in England and scope out other leagues like the Bundesliga or Belgian Pro League, for example, to see what players are performing best in other leagues around the world. When I play Football Manager, especially once I'm a few seasons into the game, I'm constantly sniffing around in other divisions and looking for top talents abroad. I like to find out what players have the most goals in other divisions, what players have the most assists, and also what players have the highest average ratings. I can't do that in FIFA career mode though. Scouting in FIFA career mode currently basically just involves looking on SoFIFA and using the filters to look for pacey, strong or high potential players. As I stated earlier though, I'd personally like to see the removal of predefined player potential in career mode. I want player potential to be more based around players' performances and whether or not they get knocked back by injuries or long spells in the reserves or on the sidelines. This kind of change to the structure of the game would make player stats for other leagues extremely useful. We could find out how players are getting on in other leagues around the world, scout them further if interested, and make decisions from there as to whether or not we wish to sign them. I love looking at player stats in reality, enjoy this method of seeking out players in Football Manager, and would also love for this to become a part of the process in FIFA 18 career mode as well. Teams with an individual identity. When you play FIFA 17 career mode, teams don't really have any sort of identity or game plan that separates them from the pack. Sometimes smaller teams will park the bus, but that's about it in terms of variety that you're going to get from the career mode experience right now. Every team plays in the exact same style, just to varying degrees of success. If teams like Barca, Real Madrid and Bayern were brilliant, and lower level teams were poor, this would be one thing, but that's not even usually the case. You can be playing Barca in the Champions League one week, Bolton in the EFL Cup the next, yet it'll be Bolton that provides you with the sternest test. Bolton will pass it around with precision, turning their backs on you, successfully shielding the ball at every opportunity, whilst Barcelona will play in the same style, but worse. It's obviously not always the case that the big teams are poor and the smaller ones are excellent, but it does seem to happen very often. I think I've been beaten by Sunderland more times in career mode than I have Man City, and what is it that John Joe Shelby always seems to score against me in career mode as well? Stop it, Voldemort. Anyway though, back on track. I want to see teams given more of an individual identity in career mode. Different teams should have different game plans, and they should play in their own distinctive style. Not only would this make things more interesting, but it'd also make the game more difficult as well. As right now, once you figure out how to play against the computer and find a style that works, that style will basically work against every team in the game. You don't really have to change the way that you play either. When you go up against someone online, there's always that battle of reading the way that they play and working out how best to stop them, and it's a constant contest of skill and brain work as you look to stop the other person's attacks, block off their passing lanes, and vary your own game style as well, so as not to make it too easy for them to work out what you're going to do next. Right now, CPU controlled teams have no real unique identity, and this brings me full circle really in crying out for some form of online career mode. If EA aren't going to improve the artificial intelligence, let us put ourselves to a test in career mode against other real life humans. I don't ask for much in life, but I definitely want to be able to battle my mates and all of the good friends that I've made in the career mode community as well, negotiating transfer deals with them and just generally having a bit more fun with career mode. Make it happen, EA, just make it happen. So these are some of the things that I'd like to see changed for FIFA 18 career mode, but I'm also interested to hear your thoughts as well. What additions and new features would you personally like to see present in the next game? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear your feedback and find out how you feel that the game mode could be improved. Thanks for watching, have an awesome day, and I'll catch you again next time.